Okay, so in a recent BBC, I spoke about if somebody has a wrong idea about us or is saying false things about us, that it's important to correct that person. So then and give them the correct information about what we did or what we believe or what it is. Then the question comes, well, what about, so that's kind of protecting our reputation, not out of attachment, but just, to clear the air. But what about letting people know our good qualities? Should we do that? What do you think? You show them, you don't have to advertise. Well, what happens if, certainly that's the case. We don't want to brag about things and be conceited. That's certainly not the Dharma way. That's the Western way, isn't it? When we meet new people, we pull out our name card and it has, all of our titles, all of our associations we belong to. Our web page is all about, this, that, and all the things I do well, and so on and so forth. We really make a big deal out of ourselves and our qualities. And it's considered quite expected and acceptable, And in fact, people will say, well, you won't even get a job if you don't do that. Yeah, so you should definitely not only tell people what your good qualities are, but exaggerate them a little bit. And one of your good qualities is that even if you do know almost everything that job requires, and if you don't, you'll be able to learn it in a couple of days, And so the people hire you, and then you're completely like, I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, so that kind of exaggeration may get you the job, but you may not be happy in the job, and the employer may not be happy with you. Okay? So I think there's a way to, in terms of job applications, be honest and state our qualities and so on, but without exaggerating them and without blowing them up. Okay? Now, what happens if you're in a situation and somebody is doing some kind of project and they don't quite know what they're doing, but you know how to do it? It's something you've studied or you have a talent in or you've done before. Then what do? Get out of there, huh? Stay out of it. Yeah. Do you barge in there and say, look, you're doing it all wrong? No, you don't do that. Do you hold back and not give them any advice and let them bungle through because you're afraid that they'll get mad at you? No. What do?
You offer help.
Yeah, you offer help, And you can state what you've done before that, that gives you some qualification to do it. And then, if that person is the person in charge, you give them some kind of choice about it, And if they say, oh, I know what I'm doing, even if they don't, then you just have to step back, don't you? And be willing to come in and pick up the pieces later on if they decide to ask for help later on. Sometimes it's like that, isn't it? Yeah. But there's a nice way to ask people if they would like some help or some advice without making them feel, you can't make somebody feel incompetent, but without, insinuating that they're incompetent or something like that, So a way of offering advice and offering help. Okay? In terms of bragging about our qualities, that certainly isn't the way to go. I remember Serkan Rinpoche, when he was quite young, we were talking about this kind of thing. I was explaining to him in the West how people, even Buddhist teachers, just advertise their qualities. You've seen all the Buddhist magazines, highest, most exalted, you know, one title after the other kind of thing. And Rinpoche's response was, if I'm a good cook, I don't need to tell people I'm a good cook. If they eat the food, they'll know. Yeah, that's what his response was. But the advertising is to get the people to try and taste the food, isn't it? Yeah, but in the process, we often can set ourselves up for later criticism, for false advertising, or be very disappointing to other people, or whatever. Okay, so it's something, you know, to know when are the appropriate times to let people know what we're capable of doing and offering help, you know, and when are the times to just, you know, be more modest and let people kind of taste the food themselves and figure out if you're a good cook.
Does this apply also to just knowledge? If you hear someone that's talking with someone and, you know, just saying something that you studied, talking about something you studied or heard about before and understand something that isn't accurate, would you offer to correct?
Okay, so if somebody is giving somebody some information and you've studied that before and you know that what the other person is saying is incorrect, you know, what do you do then? You can just say, oh, that's very interesting. You know, where did you learn that? Because I also studied it and I heard this, you know? And so you just kind of, in that way, kind of ask the person where they got their information without accusing them of not knowing what they're talking about. And then also saying, you know, well, this is my understanding. And let them know that that's your understanding. Because sometimes we may think we've studied and understand it, but we haven't. Yeah? So we don't want to put it up, you know, this is your way, your information is wrong, my information is right. But, you know, okay, this is my understanding. And then you encourage the other person to investigate and to, you know, let's all of us go and learn some more and come back and talk about it some more. Okay. In the monasteries, you know, if somebody is getting very arrogant, they really tear them down. And they tear them down in a way that our Western ego would completely fall apart, because they'll make fun of them. You know, even the teacher will make fun of an arrogant student in front of the whole class. In the debate, they will ridicule each other or tell each other off. You know, they really get the message across quite well that you know, being puffed up is not at all welcome.